Hello, everybody. My name is Sam. I'm here to talk about the radioactive treatment for I-31 because I've been through it myself last year and I didn't find a lot of information around on the internet about it. So I've decided to make this video just to explain to you everything that you should be expecting during treatment, what do you need to know about it, and a little bit of information that helped me through it, and I hope that you find this helpful for you. So, just to go back in time a little bit, 2020 was a wonderful year for everybody, including COVID and stuff like that. I went to my doctor, just a little bit of background. I went to my doctor just to go for a regular checkup because we switched network and we thought it's a good idea to have a family doctor. Went to the family doctor, put his hand on my neck, and he's like, hey, you need to get this checked out. Went and got it checked out by doing an ultrasound. They find out that my thyroid is enlarged. Pretty much the right side was about 12 centimeter, the left side was about 8, and they had a 4.5 centimeter on my, I do believe it was on my right side that they weren't sure about. So that kind of raised some concern. They found some other masses scattered all around my neck, but they weren't really worried about them because the way that they looked on the ultrasound. I went to my surgeon. I had the surgery on October 20th. I got my thyroid removed. I didn't have to do any biopsy because it was pretty much enlarged to a point where I had to remove the whole mass. Here is my scar after a year. You can barely see it. I mean, it's still healing and stuff like that. Fast forward, I did the biopsy, and 2 weeks later, I figured out that it was cancer. It was stage 1. So the mass size was 4.5 centimeter. From what my doctor told me, and this is all personal information. Everybody's case is different. I don't have any medical credential, but I'm lucky enough that my wife is a nurse, so she can do a lot of research and she kind of update me on everything, and I get a better explanation. And I have a really great care team also that I'm blessed with. So the doctor told me he would recommend a radioactive treatment for any mass over 4 centimeter. And it was stage 1 because my age is under 40. So they have a way to kind of set which stage of cancer you have based on your age, size, and stuff like that. In my case, I was stage 1. So I did a little bit of research and I've decided to go along with the treatment. In the beginning, the doctor recommended 150 molecular of I-31, which is the radioactive iodine pill that you take. I was a little bit hesitant about it in the beginning. I have a lot of family history, and the reason why they do give you the treatment is they want to get rid of any tissue just to reduce your chance of having cancer showing up again in your body, basically. So here's the one interesting thing about thyroid is no surgeon can do like 100% clean surgery. It doesn't matter how good they are, you always have a little bit of thyroid left after the surgery. In my case, the way that they measure that is by measuring something called thyroglobulin, which is a specific hormone that your thyroid tissue have on the blood. And mine was about, I do believe, 2.5, and my doctor goal was to set it at 0.2 to 0, which means it's basically nothing. None of it exists. That way my thyroid wouldn't regenerate itself. The reason why you take a pill instead of like other stuff, thyroid is pretty much interesting because the only way for your thyroid tissue to get nutrition is through iodine, which comes in food. So what they do is, or from my own understanding, is you starve your thyroid cells from iodine for a while. You go on a restricted diet for about 2 weeks before the treatment. And when you do that, once you take the treatment, which is basically iodine, but it's also radioactive, so the whatever tissue you have, cells or whatever, it absorbs it really well, and then it ended up by killing them. So it's just like, hey, you're basically poisoning them by the radioactive treatment. So fast forward, my treatment was I do believe it was on the 23rd of December of 2020. Uh, I talked to my doctor about I talked to my doctor, yeah, on the day of the treatment because he recommended 150 molecular, but I had doubts and stuff like that, and I was lucky enough that he took his time and had a discussion with me for half an hour, and then we ended up reducing it to 125. Was that the right decision or not? I mean, I'm not sure, but he said, yeah, we can go down on that because I was trying to have less radiation put on my body. So before I'm gonna tell you about the whole treatment period from where it started, like I do believe around the 12 I started on a strict diet. I stopped my thyroid medicine, of course, because I don't have a thyroid, so I was on levothyroid at that point. Doctor said I have to stop it, and then I went on a restricted low iodine diet. It's not no iodine, it's a low iodine diet, which basically they will give you a list. They will tell you, hey, you can avoid one, two, three, four. I might do a little bit of more detailed video about the diet itself later on, but this is mainly about the treatment period, like what to expect during those 5 days of radioactive treatment and the 3 days before the hospital. So I went to the hospital about 4 times. The first time they do inject you with thyrogen, which is a stimulant hormones, if I'm remembering this correctly, to stimulate your levels on your thyroid or whatever tissue you have. So you go 3 days in a row, and they give you the injection that goes through your cheeks, your butt cheeks, and you're not gonna really feel anything. I didn't feel off or anything. Treatment was fine the first time, and then I took a day off of that, and then on the fifth day, I went in for a whole body scan, or a scan. No, it was just a scan, and then I took my radioactive pill after that. I do believe that was the 25th when I did that. So there's a lot of precaution that comes with that. They're gonna make you sign a consent. Your doctor should explain it to you. Your radioactive team or whatever you want to call them, the nuclear medicine team should explain this to you fairly well. So that day I went in, I took the pill. The person that was giving me the pill had protective gear and stuff like that. They do recommend that you stay away from kids and pets and stuff like that. In my case, I was lucky enough that my wife could stay somewhere else, and we don't have any kids yet. We have pets which stayed with the wife. So fast forward, I went home, and they have a lot of list of restriction that stuff that you should be doing, and it's all for your own benefit. So the first thing would be you have to drink a lot of fluids. They will give you a detailed instruction, but I'm telling you like about the stuff that helped me out and stuff that you try to avoid, just so you have a better result. First of all, you have to drink about 8 ounces of water every hour, and you should be, if possible, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to flush your system out as quickly as possible when you can, because it is poisonous for your body. So you want to make sure that you're getting rid of stuff as soon as you can. So first of all, you need to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. So they do recommend 8 ounces of water every hour. Also, they recommend that you try to go pee every hour. So what helped me out is you can grab any kind of bottle of water, a cup like this one, and what I did is I marked the cup every 8 ounces. That way I would write down the time with a dry eraser or just a permanent marker. It's just a bottle of water, and I would say, hey, at 1 o'clock I need to be done with this, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all the way down until when I go to bed. That was the first thing that helped me. As far as peeing, you want to make sure that you pee, I do believe, every hour, and at night every 4 hours. They will refresh your memory. They will tell you everything in details. Reason why, again, that you're trying to flush your system. Another thing that you're supposed to do is candy. Candy is your friend. You gotta keep your saliva gland going all the time because you don't want them to stop. If they stop, they can stop working. At that point, it would be a big problem because your saliva gland will stop working, which means that you're not going to be able to have saliva, which makes everything really bad. Luckily enough, that didn't happen to me. But one big piece of advice, here's one mistake that I didn't know about. So I had this lovely, I still have it over here, lemon drops. Stay away from those. Why? Or anything that's sour. So those are coated in salt. What happened is when I had them inside, I usually leave the candy inside. That way your saliva keep going. But those one, I kept them inside for a little bit extra time, and I guess they literally dissolved the wall of my inside my cheeks, and that's because your body fluids are really hurtful for you because of the radioactive that's in them. You're supposed to shower every day, I think 2 times or 3 times. Try not to sweat, so no physical activity and stuff like that. But that's one example. I really struggled with that because it was real bad at that point. I'm not saying that it's undoable. I mean, you gotta always look at the part like, hey, I get to do this because it's better for my health overall. It is a tough thing to go through. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but when you look at the overall picture, you get to go through it. You recover. I'm doing this video after a year, so I can tell you my whole progress with the experience. Uh, but yeah, we'll talk about this more on. So first day went really fine. Didn't have any problem. They will give you Zofran. It's for nausea, so you wouldn't get nausea when you get home and stuff like that. First day was not bad at all, as I remember. I went home. I do believe I got to eat in the evening normally. One thing that I did, I'm not pretty sure if it helped me or not. Again, the wife did a little bit of research, and they said if you do food fasting, if you just do liquid diet only for like 36 hours before, it does help with observing like the radioactive stuff to your thyroid, and also it helps you with kind of, it makes your if I remember this correctly, it kind of puts your body in a state where it kind of protective, so it wouldn't get damaged as much from the radioactive poisoning, I guess, or treatment. Second day was tough. I got really nausea toward the evening. It was pretty much the toughest day, the second and the third day, because I remember I woke up the third day. I was pretty sick, feeling nausea, and again, I stayed on that Zofran for a while. At night, you have to brush your teeth, I do believe, like 5 times a day. It's a lot of stuff that you have to do. One other thing is you're not allowed to touch your body fluids. So what I'm doing right now, you can't do that because it will have saliva on your finger, which is bad. So what you need to do is wear gloves. So when you're brushing your teeth, you gotta wear gloves. When you flush the toilet, you have to flush it at least 2 to 3 times. When you're peeing, same exact thing. Do not wear any jewelry, any metal stuff that would, be on your body that makes you sweat, for example. So bulk of the 5 days, the hardest part was just keeping on with my track, on doing everything, making sure that I always have something like candy and stuff like that, water intake, pee, poop, all that good stuff that you have to go in. Try to follow it as much as you can. After 5 days, I went for a whole body scan. And that's when I was like, oh, great. Okay, this is like the moment where like this work or not, where I'm at with that whole cancer situation and stuff like that. I went in, I had my scan, and everything went fine. And then as I was walking toward the door, this is the sad slash funny part of the story. I had a resident follow me, and he's like, we need to get you under the scan again. I'm like, great. Went back. They said when I asked the nurse, I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, there's an area that we have a little bit of that there's an intake in it, and it was my right hip. And they did the scan, and I walked out. I had about 24 hours until I got answer back from my doctor, and basically he said it's because my stool, where it was sitting down right there, the hip have a little bit of intake, so it's normal. But yeah, you gotta have grace for yourself. It is a tough thing to go through. It's not easy, and the one thing that you want to know is you at least have some people to support you, family support, and everything that really help. Except the support. I had some great people. I had people in front of my house singing me to me Christmas Carol because it was I did the treatment during Christmas time. So just take the support when you can. Be nice to yourself, and I mean, it is a tough thing to go through. Fast forward a year later, I had to go through the same process again, not with the treatment part, but just with the diagnostic because I had to do the 1 year scan, and that's to check where I'm at. So you still go on the same diet. You only go on the diet for 7 days, not for a whole 12 days. You still take the Cyrogen 3 shots, and then you go for a full scan. I did that recently. I think I did that on the 12th. That's when I started that, and I finished on the 15 or somewhere around there. Everything went fine, so I guess I didn't have any progress with anything. My body's still in a good shape, and I'm clear of cancer. On a side note, something that happened with me that kind of was just set me off, I guess, is when I took the Cyrogen, my thyroglobulin level went up. It was 0.2, and then it went up to 1. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And then it turned out that the thyrogen hormones that I took stimulate that up 5 or 4 times. That's what my doctor told me. So after knowing about it, he's like, everything is fine. And I totally forgot to talk about my thyroglobulin levels after the radioactive treatment. So before, I'm talking about 2020, not 2021. Before, in 2020, when I did the treatment, before I did the treatment, it was 2.5. And then after I did the treatment, he said it will take some time to settle down. Once it settled down, it was at 0.2, which mean that it was a good response. That's it for all what I remember for the radioactive treatment. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message. I would love to help anybody who's in that situation, because there is a lot of information that I wish I have known about, or stuff that made my life easier. So I'm gonna try to attach a link for the app that I used on my phone to keep track. Remember the ball of water marking that made my life easier. Always use gloves. And then you get back to your normal life after 5 days. Now, after that radioactive treatment, I had a couple of issues, but I wasn't really sure where it came from because on the 25th of December, I got the treatment, and then, no, 23rd, and then I finished it on the 28th. And then it was the beginning of 2021, and we ended up getting COVID on the 7th, or I ended up getting COVID of one of the family member on the 10th of January. So my body was beaten up pretty much, and I couldn't tell if it was COVID or if it was the radioactive treatment, but I had a rough maybe 7 or 8 months where I had bone pain, chest pain, stomach pain, and I wasn't really sure if that was happening because of my radioactive treatment or my hormones level, because I was still in the adjustment period for my thyroid levels. I had to switch a couple of medicine between levothyroid and Synthroid. Right now I'm on Synthroid, and it's been working fine. And then overall, stuff started settling down in a year. So I don't know if that had something to do with me getting COVID, or was it the treatment, or was it my body adjusting. So can't really tell you, but I mean, don't expect yourself to be recovering up and running right away, because you should give yourself some grace. Just try to eat clean, exercise if you can, do the stuff that you need to do to yourself so you can feel better. I still have my days where I'm struggling with energy, brain fog, and stuff like that, but overall, I'm doing so much better than the last year, and I will keep you posted whenever forward. I might do a couple of more videos about like adjusting the medicine and how that go, and adjusting life and stuff like that. But I just wanted to make this video. It's all about I-131 treatment. I hope it was informative to you. If you have any question, feel free to just message me, leave a comment over here, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Good luck.